Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Wednesday, the 9th of November, 2022. I'm Michael Thompson. Every afternoon, we've got the 5 stories that happened today that you need to know about, so let's jump into it. Story number 1, the share market rose today with the S&P ASX 200 just failing to crack the 7,000 point mark, closing at 6,999.3 points. That is up 0.6% for the day. Orica led the way up after issuing a positive earnings outlook, rising just under 7%. NAB closed down 1% after posting an 8.3% rise in cash earnings to $7.1 billion, with a warning about the impact of interest rate rises on households. Whitehaven Coal slumped 8.5% on the back of a profit warning triggered by La Nina floods that have affected access roads really to its coal mines. REA Group and Domain Holdings fell heavily after each detailing a slowing outlook for the property market. REA finished 4.3% lower, Domain finished down 5.3%. News Corp slumped heavily on the back of a 75% collapse in first quarter earnings. The media giant blamed Amazon for slowing book sales, but also admitted that advertising in its newspapers was falling. News Corp shares ended the day 11% lower. Silver and gold prices rose strongly as the US dollar backed off, sending the precious metal miners higher. Northern Star Resources lifted 6.8%, while Newcrest Mining rose 6.9%. On to story number 2 now. Further signs the housing market is in trouble. REA Group, the company behind property listing site realestate.com.au, says national residential for sale listings in October were down 18% on last year. Sydney is down 31%, Melbourne down 29%. CEO Owen Wilson says that's partly because there was a rush last year as lockdowns ended, but he added that the heat has come out of the property market in recent months and he expects this to continue as rates rise. We also heard from REA Group's competitor Domain, which had its AGM today. Domain told shareholders that it expects earnings to fall because market conditions are worsening, particularly in the inner cities. CEO Jason Pellegrino said there was a noticeable deterioration since September. Story number 3, stolen Medibank information is starting to hit the internet. The hackers have published what they are calling naughty and nice lists, putting details of drug and alcohol abuse on one side and listing conditions like cataracts and colitis on the other. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has confirmed that he's a Medibank customer, and New South Wales Greens Senator David Shoebridge says he has had personal data released by the criminals. Cybersecurity Minister Claire O'Neill says only a small number of Medibank customers have had their medical information compromised so far, but unfortunately the numbers are expected to grow. On to story number 4, the first signs of an end to the war in Ukraine may be emerging, with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky saying he is open to, quote, genuine peace talks with Russia. The comments come as rhetoric from Western governments shifts slightly in recent weeks, away from pledges of military support to the calls for a peaceful outcome. It is a way off, to be fair, but any signs that this disruptive war could end is welcome news, not least for the civilians that have to suffer through it. There is a bit of pressure on Zelensky from Western countries to figure out what a negotiation might look like. Zelensky said his conditions include getting back control over territories lost to Russia and compensation for the invasion and justice for war crimes. Finally, story number 5, polls are shut and counting has begun in the US midterm elections. The big policy issues this time around were really over inflation, crime, and abortion rights. We'll hear results come in over the next few days. Remember, this is not just control of Congress at stake. In many states, governors, mayors, and even jobs like the local attorney general are up for grabs. There's also a whole raft of local ballot measures like marijuana legalization being voted on. That's it for the afternoon report for Wednesday, the 9th of November, 2022. Adam Lang and I will be back tomorrow morning for the Thursday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Michael Thompson. Enjoy your evening.